Hi, welcome to the Badass Breastfeeding Podcast. This is Dianne, your lactation consultant.
And I'm Abby, the Badass Breastfeeder, and today's episode is brought to you by Earth Mama Organics. Earth Mama Organics manufactures organic herbal care for the entire incredible journey of motherhood, nurturing women and their whole families from pregnancy to postpartum recovery, breastfeeding, and far beyond. And today's episode is also brought to you by Nikki's Natural Wipes. Nikki's has set a new global standard for premium baby wipes. 100% natural, ethically sourced, EWG certified, and biodegradable. We will hear more from those sponsors. I want to tell you real quick, we have transcripts now that you can find at badassbreastfeedingpodcast.com by the little CC next to the play button. You can also, while you're there, scroll down and enter your email address, and we'll send you our episodes every week so you don't have to search us out. And I think that's all. And Dianne has our review of the week.
I have our review of the week. It is from, I'm going to totally butcher this name, so I apologize in advance, but it's Mashea at Sea. She says she loves it. I'm 15 weeks pregnant and 15 episodes in. I love this so seriously so much. It's been so helpful, and I'm writing notes as I'm listening. Both Abigail, she called you Abigail.
Ooh, she knows.
Yeah. Both Abigail and Dianne are being honest and upfront about both the good and the bad sides of breastfeeding. Thank you, and can't wait to hear the rest. And congratulations to you on your pregnancy, and hope everything is going well. And I am glad you're listening while pregnant, because that's perfect. That's what we like. Well, we like everybody listening whenever, but I think it's great to get the info when you're pregnant, I think it's awesome. And we get so many reviews and emails from people that tell us, oh my gosh, I wish I'd found you when I was pregnant, or I wish I'd found you earlier than 6 months in or whatever. So I'm really, really glad that she found us early, and that's awesome. So good luck with the rest of your pregnancy. I'm sure it will be wonderful. And you can send us a review. We would love to hear from you at iTunes. Put it on iTunes, or you can send us an email at the badassbreastfeedingpodcast@gmail.com. And this kind of, I feel like, fits in a little bit with kind of what we're going to talk about today, because it says that we're being honest and upfront about both the good and bad sides of breastfeeding. And we might talk a little bit about the good and bad sides of a lot of things today.
So yesterday I was having nervous breakdown, and I was like ranting and raving around my house after Dianne and I had already decided what we were going to talk about today. And I said to her, you know what? I want to do an episode one day that's all of the things that, what was it? 10 things that Abby is effing sick of.
Was this yesterday?
It was yesterday.
Oh my God, I feel like it was like days ago.
I know.
This is what's
she
happening
was like,
in our
that's
lives.
She's like, that's what we need to do then. Like, let's just do that.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, well, I'm just going to like I had like a therapy session where I was like, okay, I'm going to write down all the things that are bothering me.
Well, it's so therapeutic. And I mean, it might be like, of course we want everything that we talk about is usually, based on breastfeeding. A lot of times we'll bring in like tips and myths and, blah, 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 all that stuff. But come on, mamas, we deal with a lot of crap all day long, right? Like we do. And everything feeds into being a mom. Everything impacts our ability to be a mom, or what we think our ability to be a mom is like. And it doesn't hurt for people to know, like, you know what, we're human. We are human, and we're not part of this like image that you see on social media where everything is perfect. So I say, bring it on. Tell us the things you're effing sick of. We want to hear it, and we want to be in solidarity.
I know. And then I was like, you know what? I'm just going to use all the curse words, and I'm going to curse up a storm, and I'm going to pound on my table. And like, I really want to do that. And it's a badass breastfeeding podcast. I don't think anybody would like be alarmed if I like let a few F-bombs go, which I do anyway. But like on a tirade, I know that some of you are at home listening with your kids. It's like, it's listed as like a family podcast. So maybe I'll just like, I don't know, try to not like fill your houses with curse words all day. Whatever.
Yeah. You could imagine Abby swearing.
Yeah, I do it all the time. So yeah, anyway. So I'll just get started. I was going to say it was going to sound very nice if I had 10 things, but I could only think of 8 things that in the moment were driving me nuts. And actually I think maybe it's 7. now that I'm looking. But I was like, I'm not going to start invent things that I'm mad about because I'm like literally mad about these things right now.
And those might lead us to other things while we're talking. So,
Yeah, I don't know. They might. Okay. So here's my first one. And this is like, so today is today you guys are listening to this. It's August 31st. It's the very last day of Black Breastfeeding Week. We've been celebrating the Black community and their breastfeeding for 7 days.
As we do every year.
As we do every year.
Yeah.
And by the way, every day, it's not just this year that we need
Right.
to talk about like the issues that are going on in the Black community with everything, but also specifically here, like breastfeeding and maternal and mental health and all that stuff. Maternal and infant health, but also mental health, but every aspect. So here's the first thing I'm sick of. I am sick of Black people needing to explain why we need Black Breastfeeding Week. I am sick of this.
That's ridiculous.
I cannot understand. Okay, I can understand because we are filled with racists and filled with people that don't want to deal with the fact that, you know, there is some really, really, really terrible stuff going on that we need to address or people are going to continue dying. And this is like, I'm so sick of people being like, well, why do we need Black Breastfeeding Week? Like, first of all, they said they need it. That should be enough.
Right.
But, you know, they were like, okay, let's try to make everybody understand. So they actually gathered research, gathered, you know, history, and wrote like tons and tons of stuff on what is going on in their communities and why they need help. Like as if we can't just say, oh, you said you need help. Let's help.
I feel like, is it like ignorance? Is it just ignorance that people don't know? Like,
it is willful ignorance at this point because there is so much information out there and there is just so much information in your face. You can't avoid it. People are willfully ignorant. They don't want to deal with it. They want to just say, you know, stop complaining. You're doing it to yourself. You're all of this. And it's disgusting. And those people are not invited into my community anymore. I had a whole thing over the weekend where I was like, and this is not just this week, where I've been feeling like I want to get off of social media. And social media is where the Badass Breastfeeder started. It started on Facebook. It's a very big community. It's like something that I'm very proud of. It's something that I worked my ass off to build for 8 years. And I've gotten to the point where I'm just like, I don't know if it's worth it. My mental health, and again, not just like, you know, not just this week, but I got to this weekend and I was like, maybe I will just do it. Like, you know, I'll just get off and like, you know, it's just time for it to end and just whatever. I don't want to deal with people anymore and all of this. And, you know, I even put it out there and people were like, you know, telling me what they thought about it. And then, so through some of these conversations, I was like, wait a minute. If I'm sick of people and people do not, and their values do not line up, why are they in this community? I'm not leaving Facebook. You are leaving my community. People who do not have values that align with the community do not need to be there. Block, ban, delete. That is my new philosophy for dealing with social media and all the stress that comes with it.
That's a really great point. It's a really, really great point that if those people have that kind of attitude or those people have that kind of mindset that they shouldn't be involved.
Why are you here?
Right. And, you know, honestly, like I want everybody to know that for the last 3 years that we've been doing this podcast, every single year, right before this week starts, you always say to me, oh my God, now I got to get like mentally prepared to deal with Black Breastfeeding Week because there's always pushback. There's always stupid comments. There's always, you know, negativity. Like this happens every year, but this year, especially, it's just like hitting home, you know?
Well,
like
yeah. And it's like we're in the midst of like a civil rights uprising, which is a beautiful, beautiful thing. And it's like, you know, so tensions are already high. And anybody who is Black who is listening to this right now, I never put out there like, I've only said that privately to Dianne about like, I have to get mentally prepared for this week because I know that this week is your life every day. You know,
right.
and I won't go to say like, oh my God, this week is so hard for me having to deal with people talking about racism. You know, like I know that that's not a thing. Like that I will never, ever like compare my experiences to what the Black community is going through. but I am an ally and I'm going to be in it and I'm going to be, doing all the things that I can do. And I just don't think anymore that arguing with racists who are not open to information, who are not open to learning, who are not open to supporting Black and brown people in this community need to be in this community.
Right.
Out with yourself. Don't let the door hit you in the ass on the way out as I click ban.
Right. And I don't say that to be like,
No, I know.
But I just want people to know that like this is it all like it's a constant like education piece, and it's just like because we're empaths, it is hurtful to see other people saying really negative things about the amazing mothering that the Black and brown communities do. And yes, we're honoring that because why shouldn't we? Just like we honor all the other aspects of breastfeeding. Like we are honored. This is your week. And it has been for a very long time. This is not new. It is not new.
No, and I've gotten and that's what I'm sick of.
Yeah. No, it's
and
awful.
I know we're a third through the podcast and we're still talking about number one. Which I don't want to say the rest, obviously. The rest are just like totally small beans compared to this. Because this is like a whole, this is people's lives. This is like America, the system that we need to burn to the ground. This is like such a big thing that we're doing that the rest of them are going to just sound silly. And they are. They're not, so in order for people who are open and who do want to support the Black and brown and mothers of color and, the people in our community, start with last week's episode. And happy Black Breastfeeding Week.
Because it is our community.
It is
It's
ours.
our community.
Yes,
absolutely.
Okay. So
what's number 2?
All right, here's my number 2. Number 2 is the fear-mongering around bed sharing.
Oh my God.
I am so sick
daily.
of this.
Yeah.
Yeah, and people even send us emails like, you need to educate yourself on SIDS and how bed sharing is a risk of SIDS. Okay, that is wrong.
Two completely different things.
This is not even the same conversation. And so this is what we're saying. You need to educate yourself on bed sharing, okay? And stop. This whole society has brainwashed everyone into thinking that you're going to kill your baby if you lay down with your baby, even though we've been laying down with our babies since we've been having babies. And suddenly... What?
Like a million years ago. Like it's been going on forever in every country around the world.
Since humans were humans.
Yeah.
And even before that, mammals and primates and whatever, living things sleep with each other.
Right.
Like, I mean, this is... there's so much misinformation and there's so much fear mongering. There's even, we've talked about this on the podcast before of like, these public health initiatives that are like, sleeping with your baby is like sleeping with a butcher knife or sleeping, these posters. And it's disgusting.
It's disgusting.
It is so degrading. It is so insulting to suggest that somebody wanting to sleep with their baby, feeling that that's right, feeling like they're getting more sleep, feeling like it's healthier, are somehow a bad person. And it's like, that makes me so angry. And all of the research is complete opposite. We have episodes and episodes on bed sharing, and James McKenna and all of his research, which he actually does the research on sleeping breastfeeders and their babies. Now, of course, not all bed sharing is safe. If you're drunk, if you're not breastfeeding, these kinds of things are risk factors. Sure. But safe bed sharing is normal. And it is the biological norm.
Nothing to do with SIDS. SIDS is not the same thing. It is not. So those people that really feel like that we get, emails from saying you need to educate yourself on SID, you shouldn't be telling people to bed share. It is not the same thing at all. And those people need to educate themselves on what SIDS really is, because it's not the same thing. And that's what the fear mongering comes from. Right. It's wrong information. It's inaccurate. And families should have the correct information to do what they want to do, to make an informed decision for what is right for their family, not be scared into doing something that they feel isn't right for their family.
Totally. Exactly. And I'm wondering if we should stop for a word from our sponsors before we go on,
Okay.
just because, time flies.
It does.
Time
When you're
flies when you're on the Badass Breastfeeding podcast.
and you're just bitching about stuff. Yeah. That's when it really goes by
So
fast.
true. Okay. Today's episode is brought to you by Earth Mama Organics. At Earth Mama, we recognize that becoming a mother is the beginning of a series of profound changes. Often, it changes the way we see the world because we're looking through a new lens. And that can lead to a big question about what we put on and in our body, which is this safe for my baby? Earth Mama Organics manufactures organic herbal care for the entire incredible journey of motherhood, nurturing women and their whole families from pregnancy to postpartum recovery, breastfeeding, and far beyond. Marrying generations of women's wisdom about traditional herbal solutions with evidence-based research. Earth Mama Organics' safe, effective, and trusted formulations range from certified organic herbal teas, like the best-selling organic Milkmaid tea, to Castile soaps, balms, lotions, soothing sprays, sunscreens, deodorants, and 2 kinds of non-GMO project-verified nipple cream, the organic nipple cream and the vegan nipple cream. Experience their botanical-rich products for yourself. Head to earthmama.com and use code BADASS for 15% off your purchase. This does not include travel kits. U.S. orders only, and this offer ends on September 31st. So hurry up to Earth Mama Organics and use code BADASS. And today's episode is also brought to you by Nikki's Natural Wipes. Nikki's was created out of the passion of 2 new parents wanting to protect the health of their new baby, Nikki. Conventional baby wipes contain harsh chemicals that can lead to redness, itchiness, dry skin, a burning sensation, and even blisters and urinary tract infections. Utilizing the miraculous antibacterial qualities of Manuka honey, combined with the proven ability of coconut oil to moisturize dry skin, Nikki's has set a new global standard for premium baby wipes. The smell and feel of the wipes is unique. 100% natural, ethically sourced, EWG certified, and biodegradable. My kiddos wipe their bums with these wipes every day, and they're pretty happy. Check out the first all-natural baby wipes on the market at nickis.com. That's NIKIS.com. And use promo code BADASS10 for 10% off of your purchase. And you can find these promo codes, these links to the sponsor websites if you missed it, over at badassbreastfeedingpodcast.com. And there you will find show notes about links and further information about things that we talked about in this episode. You will find all of our breastfeeding resources. You'll find all of our other episodes. You'll find information about scheduling your lactation consultation with Dianne.
And it's just fun.
It is fun.
It's just fun. And who's our shout out?
Yeah, our shout out is, let me pull this up here. Our shout out is, I think you say it Jamii. It's Jamii Midwife. Jamii Midwife. Jamii, Jamii means community in Swahili. So it's Jamii Midwife. Her name is Crystal, and she's a student midwife, a labor and birth nurse, birth rights activist committed to improving birth experiences and outcomes for Black people.
Awesome.
So this is a beautiful Instagram account. It's very empowering and very educational, and I highly suggest that you follow Jamii Midwife. You can also find her website at jamiimidwife.com with information about her mission, and that's it.
Fantastic. Sounds awesome.
Yeah. And so the other things that I'm sick of. Okay, so this next one we're gonna change the tone a little bit to something that really drives me crazy. That is kind of silly. I think it's ridiculous. But so you know how some people will say like they count their breastfeeding journey in months. So some people say like I've been breastfeeding for 2 years. But some people say like, well, I've been breastfeeding for 28 months. And then inevitably, when people, because I share, people's stories and people, whatever, always when somebody counts their breastfeeding journey in months, somebody swings by and says, "You've been breastfeeding for 2.5 years." And
Why?
corrects them because they don't like the fact that they are counting their breastfeeding in months. And then somebody will be like, "What's 28 months? I'm bad at math. Can you do it in years?" And I will tell you, like, I ban those people every time.
Good.
I cannot. Like, I literally feel it inside of my body when that happens. I cannot understand why you would feel the need to spend your energy commenting on how somebody decides to count their breastfeeding month and their journey. And I've decided that I'm going to start counting mine in seconds. And you have a hard time doing math? Well, I'm sorry. You should have learned math.
That's
And
ridiculous.
translating months into years is not math. I mean,
No.
like, seriously, if you can't do that, oh my God.
But this is
Like,
really
maybe it takes a second, but Jesus.
really, really ridiculous.
It's
Like,
so petty. And it's
so
so,
petty.
again, you are not invited in this community. I am cleaning house.
Yeah.
Like, there are people that if you feel the need to do that, that's just a sign to me. No, bye-bye.
Right. Obviously, you have some kind of complex where you have to be like, and maybe in your head, you're like, oh my gosh, why do people do that? But you don't need to comment on that. Like, you don't need to try to make somebody change to state things the way you think they should state that. Like, you don't even know these people. Like,
I know.
Like, that's
Yeah,
ridiculous.
I think all kinds of things about people all day, and I don't say it.
Right. You don't have to say it. Say congratulations and move on.
Or say, that's so many months, I can't even figure out how many years that is. That's amazing.
Right. And honestly, like, the first thing I thought of when you said that was maybe people do it in months so they won't be criticized by how many years they've been breastfeeding.
Maybe it's just that every freaking day is such an accomplishment,
Right.
that, that we're counting in months. And again, I'm going to start and count in seconds because every second is like an accomplishment.
Ugh, people are. Oh my
This is what I'm
God.
saying. See, I know I feel like this is such a like negative Nelly episode, but like,
But that's annoying though.
I can't. It's so ridiculous.
Right,
Don't
like,
do that.
No, and you're like, these things on social media, like, you're posting them on social media because it's a place where women go for support.
Exactly. Yeah.
Not to
It's
be
supposed
shut down on how you put something out there. Not to be shut down on how you choose to state your years and months. Like, it's for support. That's the name of the game. And if you can't do that, then you don't need to be there.
No. I know. It's so true. I feel like I've had such a revelation this weekend.
Ugh.
All right.
Just need it.
Here is number 4. Telling moms that they're selfish because they choose to drink while they're breastfeeding.
Oh my God. Telling moms that they're selfish for anything that they do while they're breastfeeding.
Yeah, yeah.
But
especially
drinking's the big one.
Especially things that have bodies of research and literature and science that say that there is no harm. You know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
if I saw like somebody who was like breastfeeding in I was gonna say in the middle of the street, but I did that once for for a photo shoot. So I can't really say that. Well, I'm sure people were judging me and fine. I mean, it's not like you're, I don't know, like walking on a tightrope between like 2 buildings in downtown Chicago and you're breastfeeding and you could fall to your death. Like, I don't know. Somebody might be like, "Oh, wow, she shouldn't be doing that." But like, it's inevitable again whenever you bring up this topic of alcohol and breastfeeding, there's always these people that come by and are just like, "That's so selfish. Why would you do that? You're so selfish." Listen, you guys, you are not selfish. Taking things for yourself, doing things for yourself, doing things that you like does not make you selfish. You are a good parent. Period.
Right. Those judgmental people need to go elsewhere.
Yeah, yeah.
Just because you're breastfeeding does not mean you need to give up your entire life.
No, and like, why? What is that? What's with this culture that's just like, if you're a parent, you have to like suddenly, yeah, you have to give up everything. You have to give up yourself, you have to give up all of yourself and everything that you like and everything that you do and everything, or you're bad and selfish.
And God
What
forbid that
is
you
that
do anything
sickness?
enjoyable. You can't
Yeah.
enjoy yourself.
Yeah. What is that? That's like that is a sign of a very, very sick society.
It is. Yeah. And people that are just like, I don't know, like maybe are they just jealous that they did not do those things? You know what I mean? Like that they felt like they couldn't do it, so now everybody can't do it.
Right. Yeah,
I mean,
maybe.
like, is
That's what we
that
like to do. If I can't have fun, you can't have fun either.
right?
And
Like,
if you don't want to drink, fine, don't. I mean, it's like, not saying you should drink, but like, if I don't know why we can't mind our own business.
right.
People just cannot handle that other people do things differently than they do. Like, people cannot handle it.
Well, I just don't understand why anybody should have a voice in what you do with your baby.
No, yeah,
It's nobody's
yeah.
business. You know, like nobody tries to control other things. You know, like, oh, are you going to dress your baby in that today? I don't think that's appropriate. Oh, you
Oh,
want your
people
baby
do
to go
that.
to school? I don't think you should do that. Oh, you want your baby to stay home? I don't think you should do like, come on.
It
I
makes
don't
it so hard. It makes it so hard because, like, I think social media is a lifeline for people. Like, certainly now during the
yeah.
pandemic, but like before too, because we're already so isolated from like any sense of community in this country that like people go online and have found a way to connect and to feel like they've got friends and and that's a great thing. But like, you have to wade through all of this nonsense, like all of this negativity of people just like sitting at their keyboards clicking away about what people are doing. It's like ruining it. You're ruining everything.
It is sucking the life out of people. It
Yeah.
really is. It's
People are seriously just trying to find something to relate to and some way to engage in a positive way. Like, we've got plenty of negativity around us all the time. You don't got to bring it in these needless ways.
right. And you don't know what other people are dealing with. You know, like maybe that mom that finally had a glass of wine is celebrating the fact that she can have dinner with her partner tonight and
Yeah.
hasn't been able to do that since the baby was born. And now you got half the people on the internet like bashing her.
Yeah, people just like the ground opened up and like swallows people. I'm
Ugh.
like, it's just like, why? God, calm down.
Just like keep your negativity to yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. I just can't deal with it. And that's kind of how I feel about like this has nothing to do with breastfeeding, but it just popped into my head. Like holiday shopping. And I know like obviously it's going to be different this year, but people that are rude, you know, like you go out, anybody that goes out in public, you're rude to your server, you're rude to a cashier, you're rude, like stay home and shop from home then. Like if you can't
Yeah.
be nice, then stay home. And I feel the same way about this stuff. It's like if you can't say something positive to a mom that is just like doing what she needs to do when she's on these breastfeeding communities to find some connection, then just stay off the internet. Like just stay out of those groups. Join one of those negative groups. There's a ton of them.
Oh, there's lots of those. Yeah.
Yeah. Join them. You could be negative all day long on those groups and everybody will love you for it. Just, yeah.
All right. I think we've got time for one more. And so I'm going to pick this one. The entire concept of modesty. So this comes up, of course, when we're talking about nursing in public, right?
Mm-hmm.
And people say, well, you should use some modesty. So first of all, that is just a word that has no meaning to control women and their bodies. And modesty is subjective.
I was just about to say that. Yeah.
So
absolutely.
it has nothing to do, there's no definition of modesty. And I cannot handle women or anybody, breastfeeders, being told that they are, doing something wrong by breastfeeding in public without a cover or without, some kind of something that's covering up some part of skin that somebody for some reason thinks needs to be covered up.
Ridiculous.
I don't understand. Like, you know, this is so harmful to people. To have this idea in our society that people's bodies need to be regulated, that they need to be, you know, controlled. This is disgusting. And this is the kind of thing that needs to stop. Stop using the word modesty. Just stop using it.
People use that word to suit their own need. You know,
It's again,
like, it's ridiculous.
It's again with people deciding how things need to be done, and then everyone around them needs to do it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't think that you should show your shoulders. You should be putting on a cover. Well, who are you to regulate my shoulders? The fact that breasts are regulated at all is something that makes me want to tear this place apart.
Well, yeah. And
that is not okay.
No. And people that say, oh, I really think that's something that should be done in private. It's a private thing between a mother and a baby that should be done in a private place.
Why
Says
is it
who?
private?
Right.
You know, did you know that your breasts are not reserved for the pleasure of your partner?
And we did this on a podcast once. They are not a sexual organ.
No, they're not. They're not. And that's just in our culture. That is like totally made up. And it's disgusting and it hurts us. And it hurts breastfeeding. And the word modesty should be flushed down the toilet.
You know, when I worked at in the hospital, I remember there was one time, and this happened more than once, but, you know, moms sometimes, if I would go in, and even now in the peds office, like if I go in to see them and they're breastfeeding, sometimes they don't like completely expose themselves, and that's up to them. Like, I'm not going to be like, oh, let me see what's happening. You know, like, it's just, I follow the lead of the mom.
Right.
And there was one time in the hospital where the mom was not, you could just tell that she was just like, I feel like everything's fine. Like, she did not want me to see what was going on. And that was fine, because you know what? When you're in childbirth, you are completely exposed to everybody and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And that is uncomfortable for a lot of people.
Yeah, when they bring in like 20 people.
Exactly. And then
like shove them around your vagina. Here. There's
and then
20 people watching the show.
Can we bring in the nursing students now? And how about the
residents? Yeah, bring in the residents. Yep. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Here,
so everybody sees everything you have, everything. And then you go on to, you know, then you're postpartum and people are like touching your breasts because they're putting no, like, that's not okay. Mm-mm. And I remember one of the nurses being like, oh, now she's going to be modest.
Oh my God.
And it's like, let her do what she wants. Like, come on. Like, it was just, this is why I can't ever go back to the hospital. Well, that and a zillion other reasons. But it's like, nobody should ever tell a woman what she can do with her body. That is up to her. Like you said, it's subjective. And if she is sitting in her hospital room 12 hours after she had a baby and was completely exposed to who knows who without even being asked most of the time if they could look, touch, feel, any of those things, and then she wants to be a little bit private when she's breastfeeding, who am I to say anything? Who is anybody to say anything? And that if you want to breastfeed in public and you're comfortable with that, who is anybody to say anything? Oh, I just can't. It's disgusting.
It's true, and we're out of time. We'll see you next week. Thanks for listening. Thanks for the free therapy, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.